Hello coin enthusiasts, and welcome back to NT Coins World, the place where we explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today we have two incredible coins on our radar, the 1969 D State Quarter and the 1986 P State Quarter. These two coins might seem like ordinary quarters at first glance, but when you dig deeper into their history, their mintage, and the potential errors or varieties that exist, you'll realize just how valuable and sought after they can be. So without further ado, let's get into the story of these two unique state quarters, starting with the 1969 D Quarter. The 1969 D Quarter, minted at the Denver Mint, is an often overlooked piece of US history. At first glance, this quarter might not seem very special, but once you understand its mintage, the nuances that make it valuable, and the key errors associated with it, you'll begin to see its true potential. The 1969 D Quarter was part of the larger series of Washington quarters that were minted from 1932 through 1998. The Washington design, featuring the famous portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, has been a symbol of American unity and heritage for generations. However, the 1969 D is a standout in its own right. This quarter has a relatively high mintage. Over 500 million coins were produced in Denver that year, making it a common date for most collectors. But it's the condition of the coin, along with its subtle errors and varieties, that can set it apart and elevate its value. A coin that has been well preserved or features a notable error can fetch anywhere from $5,000 to $70,000 at auction, depending on the specific characteristics. Now, what makes the 1969 D Quarter particularly interesting is the possibility of finding rare errors in its production. Some of the most sought-after varieties come from coins with unusual die cracks, doubling, or even minting anomalies. For example, the 1969 D double die obverse is a famous error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been misaligned, causing the image to appear doubled. While this is a rare error, coins exhibiting it can command hefty premiums in the marketplace. In some cases, these errors can push the value of the 1969 D Quarter to the $50,000 to $70,000 range, particularly when they're in fine or better condition. But even without a notable error, a 1969 D Quarter in fine condition can still be worth significantly more than its face value. The key to its value is understanding the preservation of the coin, particularly the level of detail remaining on both the obverse and reverse. A coin in fine condition shows moderate wear but still retains key design elements, and this can greatly influence its overall value. Collectors also place a premium on quarters that have been properly stored and graded, especially those with a high grade of preservation. As with any rare coin, its market value will ultimately depend on the current demand, the interest from collectors, and the presence of any rarities or minting errors. If you happen to find a 1969 D Quarter with a double die, or an error in good condition, you're sitting on a potential treasure that could make a significant impact on your collection. In conclusion, while the 1969 D Quarter might initially seem like just another piece of US currency, it is a coin that has much more to offer when looked at through the lens of a collector or investor. With its fascinating history, possible errors, and the right market conditions, this quarter could be worth thousands of dollars. Now that we've explored the 1969 D Quarter, let's shift our focus to a different era of US coinage, the 1986 P Quarter. While the 1986 P may not share the same widespread recognition as the 1969 D, it holds a unique place in the history of the US Mint and offers collectors some intriguing potential. The 1986 P Quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, is a more recent addition to the State Quarter series, which began in 1999 as part of the US Mint's initiative to honor each of the 50 states. However, the 1986 P Quarter is important in its own right, as part of the larger Washington Quarter series that ran from 1932 through the late 20th century. Unlike the 1969 D quarter, the 1986 P is part of the modern coinage era and comes with some unique qualities that distinguish it from its predecessors. While the mintage of this quarter was substantial, approaching 500 million coins, it's important to note that fine condition examples of this coin have the potential to be more valuable than you might think, particularly if they feature rarer die varieties or if they've been preserved in mint-like conditions. The 1986 P quarter, much like the 1969 D, falls into the category of coins that are often overlooked. However, the demand for well-preserved coins from this era has steadily increased as the state quarter collection process has gained more traction among collectors. When a coin from this era is in fine condition, it can be worth upwards of $5,000 to $10,000 or even more, depending on the specific grade, variety, and rarity associated with the coin. Much like the 1969 D, the 1986 P quarter features the iconic design of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle in flight on the reverse. However, its value isn't necessarily tied to the overall design, but rather to the specific characteristics of the coin, such as its condition and any potential errors or unusual features. One notable aspect of the 1986 P quarter that collectors should be aware of is the possibility of encountering coins with minor die errors. These errors can range from die cracks to double-struck coins or even off-center strikes. These types of errors are particularly attractive to collectors because they are often unique and scarce, making them more valuable in the marketplace. Even though these errors are not as famous or widely known as those found in earlier coinage, they can still significantly increase the value of a coin like the 1986 P quarter. For example, a well-preserved 1986 P quarter with a notable error or unique feature can easily fetch a price of $5,000 to $15,000, with the right buyer willing to pay top dollar for the rarity of the piece. Additionally, coins that are graded in higher levels, such as MS65 or higher, will always fetch more on the open market, with some collectors being willing to pay as much as $20,000 for a pristine example. Another important factor that impacts the value of the 1986 P quarter is the condition in which it's kept. If you have a 1986 P quarter in fine condition, showing moderate wear but still maintaining some key details,